Hello, everyone. Welcome. Happy Tuesday, January the 11th, 2022, on a beautiful, sunshiny, no cloud covered day in the Atlanta, Georgia area. In fact, I'm about an hour away from Athens, Georgia, where the University of Georgia presides. For those of you that are college football fans, I'm sure you watched last night as the national championship game took place in my state of Indianapolis to be exact, at the Lucas Oil Stadium last night between the Alabama Crimson Tide versus the University of Georgia Bulldogs. And it was a very defensive battle in the first half, 9-6, that Alabama led, and then ultimately Georgia pulled it out and had a couple of touchdowns at the end. Ended up having a pick six touchdown to seal it, 33-18. So very, very exciting to see a competitive game till the very last couple of minutes of the game. So for those of you that are not college football fans, and you're probably bored, but that's one of my interests that I like, is college football. Number two is college basketball. And it's funny because before the season kicked off, I remembered looking, and it had been like since 1980 that the Georgia Bulldogs had last won the national title for football, and it was the last time that Purdue was in the Final Four in basketball. They ended up finishing third that year. I believe they beat Iowa they had a consolation game then when they used to play it. So wouldn't that be interesting? I said at the very beginning of the season, wouldn't that be interesting if Georgia won the national title in football and Purdue won it in basketball? Wouldn't that be appropriate? So we'll see. Purdue is in the top 7 now, so we'll see if they can finish in the Final Four. And if they do, I just learned that I'll be doing ministry in Dallas, Texas on April the 2nd, which would be when the Final Four games are played. So hopefully that they'll play in the afternoon if they make it, and then I can watch and cheer them on. And then the championship game would be on that Monday in New Orleans, is where the basketball tournament is. So anyway, breakthrough tour for this year. This coming Saturday, you guys want to attend in Atlanta. This will be my 4th time to the Atlanta Marriott Perimeter Center. It's on the north side of Atlanta, January the 15th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So come on out for that. And then, let's see, January the 29th, I'll be in Birmingham. Speaking of University of Alabama, it's not too far from there. So Birmingham, Alabama, at the Marriott on the east side, Marriott Birmingham. Got a lot of people signed up on both, basically Atlanta and the one in Birmingham on Eventbrite. We're getting a lot of activity on there, and there's some that are on Facebook too. So, and then February 19th, I'll be in Orlando, Florida, at the Courtyard by Marriott at Lake Mary, which is on the north side of Orlando. And then March the 5th, I'll be in Nashville, Tennessee at the Residence Inn at Opryland. That's on the northeast side of Nashville. And then April the 2nd, I'll be in Dallas, Texas, right between Dallas and Fort Worth, in Irving at the Marriott Dallas Las Colinas. So looking forward to people in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And we'll be adding some more in Texas and Oklahoma in May. So stay tuned for all that. All right, topic of the day is how to forgive those who hurt you deeply. Again, I do about 5 or 6, maybe sometimes 7 sessions a week with people privately. And I've done thousands around the world. And we've seen a good percentage of people that would have been, I guess, diagnosed that they would have, been a narcissist or have the Jezebel spirit. We've seen a good percentage of them that have gotten delivered. I would say thousands of people who have gotten delivered from that. It's not easy because they have a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness. They oftentimes look at themselves as a victim, and they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. So it is not easy to get people to see the truth or speak the truth about their own behavior and how they've treated people. And most people want to see themselves as a victim. But in order to get healed and delivered from demons is we have to forgive those. Truly, we have to forgive those who hurt us. Because if we don't, it says in the Bible that if we don't forgive other people, in fact, I'll read it, Matthew 6:14-15. It says, "For if you forgive men their trespasses, which is their sins, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if you do not forgive men or women their trespasses, their sin, then neither will your Father forgive your sin." So that's a key to being a complete and healed Christian, and then being able to have the fruit of the Spirit, is we have to forgive people who hurt us. And the demons don't want us to do that. The demons want to have people hurt us as much as they can when we're young, when we can't protect ourselves, oftentimes by our fathers, by our mothers, by our aunts, our uncles, our grandparents, by, neighbors, by pastors, by policemen. Anyone and everyone, that has been hurt and wounded will tend to hurt other people. That's how they pass it on. People that have been sexually touched oftentimes touch other people. That's how it works. They don't all, some people are like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I am having feelings or urges to do these things sexually that are not good. And they want help for that, which is good. But then there's a percentage of people that get touched and hurt when they're little kids, and then they end up touching others. Some of them do it within a couple of months. And then the demons tell them, you're bad, you're a horrible person, when they were a victim. But again, if they don't get that addressed, which most people don't, they come into the church, then they will continue to act out sexually impure and think that they are evil and wicked. They feel a lot of guilt and condemnation. And the Lord wants to heal those wounds, but we have to forgive those who hurt us. If we have anger and bitterness, which is what the demons want us to have, and that's the majority of what most people have for people that come into the church, they're mad and angry at what was done to them when they grew up. Well, then they're going to pass it on to their spouse and be angry and mean to them or their children, and then infect them and then pass it on down to the next generation. So how do you forgive someone if that is a premise of being a true Christian, which it is? How do you forgive someone that did some bad things to you? Again, I've done sessions with people that just horrible things that have been done to people. I've had some that were 4 or 5 years of age and they were raped. I have some that were 1 year of age and they were molested. I have had some when they were 2 and 3. You can imagine if you're a little kid and someone sexually does things to you, you are a true victim at that point. And unfortunately, those demons don't have to leave until you, if you ever truly can forgive the people that hurt you. And most times people can't. They'll oftentimes say, well, I forgave them. I forgave my dad when he did all these bad things, or I forgave my mom, or I forgave the next door neighbor. But you can hear in their tone that they're still angry and they're still bitter. A lot of times, there's one woman I remember, she was molested over and over and over again by a guy for something like 10 years as she was a teenager. She had such anger and bitterness. She said, I will never forgive that person for hurting me. And I'm like, well, if you don't, then I'm like, Jesus can't heal you. I go, you're going to have a lot of sickness in your body. I am so mad. I'm so angry. And I'm like, well, I understand that. I'm like, yeah, that would seem justifiable. But I said, what does it say in the Bible? It says you have to forgive them. I'll never forgive them. Okay. I said, then I can't help you. And she kept her demons. So you have to understand, if you get raped, if you get molested, if you get touched, if you have a dad or a mom that put you down over and over and over again, or they're mad at each other and they want you to hate on your own parent, then you will pick up demons. And then you have to be healed from that through forgiving the other person. Well, how do you forgive a person that's hurt you really, really deeply? Again, I've heard everything as far as horrendous things that have happened to little girls, little boys that shouldn't even be talked about, let alone have to experience. And what happens is when they are hurt, oftentimes, let's say it's a mom or a dad, and the mom or the dad put them down just verbally. Let's not say that they are, physically being beaten on or sexually being molested or touched, although that does happen. All it takes is a person negatively to put you down over and over and over again, saying that you're worthless, that you're a piece of crap, that you're not going to amount to anything, never an encouraging word, blaming you for everything, to cause you to have a lot of anger and unforgiveness for that person. And when you're a little kid, you don't know any better. You know, you come into the church when you're I don't know, a late teenager or early 20s, and the church doesn't do much at all for people to help them get delivered, get their wounds healed. They just want you to plug in and start serving, you know, and you're angry and bitter. And then oftentimes you'll see people in the children's department that touch people that shouldn't be there because they haven't been healed from their wounds yet. Or they could be on your, I don't know, praise and worship team. They could be on your intercessor team. And then they're saying things to people that are already hurt that are hurting them worse. That's why it's so critical to get people healed and delivered. So how do you forgive? That is the question of the day. And this is what I would do. This is what I do when I help people get healed from that, is I ask them to close their eyes and I say, let's go back to that time in your life. Do you remember, you know, let's say it's a father that yelled and screamed at you a lot, or it could be a mother. I just say, close your eyes, let's go back to that time in your life, and how did that make you feel when that was going on? And oftentimes you're like, oh my gosh, I felt so helpless, I felt so hopeless, I felt so worthless, you know, I felt so unloved, I felt so rejected, all these things that are true feelings. And they're getting, you know, going back to that part of their life. It's helping them to understand what their true feelings were. And then at that point, I just say, I'm separating every demonic spirit now from your soul, which is your mind, your will, your emotions. Those demons will prey upon your mind, your thoughts. They'll give you thoughts of anger and unforgiveness and bitterness. And once I separate and command those demons to separate from their soul, then I'll ask Jesus to come to speak to them. Show them why that happened. Show them why their dad or their mom treated them so badly, why the next door neighbor molested them. And so Jesus will come and give them some words of understanding, or give them a vision from his perspective. And 9 times out of 10, the Lord says, I'm so sorry that that happened to you. You know, you were an innocent little child. You were an innocent little boy, little girl. You didn't deserve that. I'm so sorry that that happened. But did you know that your father or your mother or whoever it was also hurt and wounded when they were growing up, you know, or they were touched sexually? And that's why they did what they did to you. Then at that point, the person has the decision to make. Do I want to choose to forgive, truly forgive my dad or my mom or whoever it was that hurt me? Or do I want to be angry? Well, if you can see them from the Lord's perspective, then you should be able to choose to forgive, just like Jesus did. Remember when Jesus was dying on the cross? He was completely innocent. People were cheering on, trying to kill him, wanting him to die. And what did he say? You know, one of the final words he said was, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. So anyone who would treat you in a horrible way, especially a father or mother, must have been hurt very deeply. So you have to see through the exterior of them and see when they were growing up, how they were hurt, how they were abused. Then you can have the same compassion for those who abused you, just like Jesus had compassion. And when we truly forgive, what that does is that takes away the legal rights of demons to torment you with anger and bitterness and sickness and disease and other things. Once you take your authority and say, I choose to forgive my mom for hurting me, I choose to forgive my dad for hurting me, now we can take authority and command the demons to go to the pit that attached to those wounds. So that's what I do when I do my breakthrough events, when I do my worldwide deliverance sessions. The goal is to help people, to see the people that hurt them the deepest, to forgive. You know, a lot of times people that are hurt and wounded end up seeing other people in the wrong perspective. You know, oftentimes those people that have been hurt, wounded, and wounded deeply, they'll end up triggering on other people that are good people, godly people, but they'll be mad and angry at them because they won't allow them to do some things that they shouldn't be allowed to do. So therefore, if that person stands up to them and says, no, I'm not gonna tolerate that, you know, that behavior is not really good, not very healthy, then oftentimes that person will trigger and get really mad and angry because the other person's not doing what they want. And that person's needing to be healed so that they don't get triggered. So you have to understand that there are sometimes when people are doing the right thing, and then the people that aren't delivered are going to be mad and angry because you're not doing what they want to make you do, but you're in the wrong space at that point. So anyway, it's very, very important for us to choose to forgive, and you have a choice. You don't have to. You can stay mad and angry and miserable forever, and then you'll end up having a lot of demonic spirits that will attach to you, and you'll have a lot of sickness, and that will be, unfortunately, your responsibility. And I know that that doesn't seem right because you were a victim, but no longer. You need to overcome that. You need to forgive those who have hurt you and hurt you the deepest. And you can do that, or you can choose not to and be mad and angry and bitter. And that's not what the Lord wants for you, of course. So how many people do you know, say yourself, that you need to forgive? How many people? Is it 1? Is it 2? Is it 5? Is it 10? Is it 20 people? There's a lot of people that are in the church who are stuck. They're so mad, they're so angry. All they can think of every day is all the wrongs that were done to them. So how do you know if you've truly forgiven? If you've truly forgiven, you're not going to have anger and bitterness in your heart for people. You're not going to have tears for the things that were done to you. You've been healed. You can remember the traumas and the bad stuff without all the anger and the bitterness to go with it. And that's a great position to be in. Then you have a testimony. You can say, yeah, I overcame this. This person did this and this and this bad thing to me, but now I no longer have anger and bitterness for them. I give them to the Lord. And if I saw them on the street, if they sat down next to me, I'm not going to be mad and angry at them. I've forgiven them. Now, it doesn't mean that maybe you'll have dinner with them. It doesn't mean that you'll go out on a date with them. It doesn't mean that you're going to recommend other people to be ministered to by them. But it does mean that they no longer have control over you. They no longer have where you're going to have anger and bitterness whenever you think of them. Think about Jesus. Jesus forgave, but he remembered the Pharisees and the scribes. He knew their hearts were wicked and evil. And when he came back from the dead and he showed people his wrists that he had holes in, he didn't have tears and anger and bitterness. It's just a matter of fact. It's a part of his testimony. So we have to get to the point to where we truly forgive people. And then we're the one that gets freed from it. I've had some personal things that I've had to endure in my life. Now again, what things, and I know what people have we not hurt too. I've said some things and done some things that hurt some people. No one's perfect. So if we're going to forgive others, then that allows God to forgive us. It takes away legal rights of the demons to torment us. It's a win-win situation. But whenever I encounter a person that's like, oh man, I'm so mad and angry. No, I get it. If you're in a marriage with someone and every night or every day that person's making negative comments to you over and over and over and over again, it does wear on you. And they'll oftentimes trigger you to say things back to them that you wish you didn't, because then they'll point the finger at you and say, look how bad that you are. So you give them time to repent. You give them time to own their own bad behavior. And if they refuse to, the Lord will tell you when it's time to separate. Then at that point, hopefully, they'll humble themselves and get delivered. But understand they have a free will. They can choose to lie. They can choose to be prideful, keep their demons. And then you have the choice. Well, gee, if I stay in this relationship, their demons are going to stop me from doing what I need to do from God's perspective. And then if I died, went to before the Lord said, what'd you do for me? Well, I stayed married to a person that had demons and they stopped me from doing anything for you. Like, you kind of like made them an idol before me. What? Well, I never heard that preached before. Well, that's the truth. If you end up making anyone an idol before God, and that's why it's a challenge, is because the demons know what to say to try to be just good enough to keep you. And if they have no desires to change and get delivered, then they'll try to stop you from doing what the Lord wants you to do. So that's why you have to pray and ask and do what the Lord tells you to do. I know in my case, I put up with a lot of abuse for many, many years. Was not fun, but it taught me some things. It trained me. And then ultimately the Lord said, who are you going to serve? The demons in your spouse or me? Because if you choose to serve the demons in your spouse, you're not going to do any ministry for me. All these people that you're going to minister to around the world, you're not going to be able to, because the demons will stop you. And it was the truth. And I was like, wow, I never even thought about that. Now, again, our goal of the ministry is to get everyone healed and delivered, to save as many marriages as possible. We've saved a lot, but we haven't saved all because they have a free will. If a person wants to stay with their demons and lie about their spouse, control them, be nice enough to people from the outside so they don't see the truth of how you really treat them behind closed doors, then that person ultimately has to make the decision, who am I going to serve, the demons in them or the Lord? If the person chooses to get delivered, then great. It's a win-win situation. But you have to understand, if you're in a situation with someone, maybe it's your mom or your dad, maybe you're trying to help them, maybe they're dying, and you're the only one left that is willing to put up with them and to try to love them until they die. And that's the sad thing. A lot of times you'll have a child that gets hurt and abused by, could be the mom, could be the dad, whoever's more Jezebelic, and they get hurt when they're growing up. And then if that parent is still mad, angry, and bitter, then oftentimes they'll come into a sickness near the end of their life. It could be that they have a stroke, could be they have a heart attack because of all the anger and the bitterness that they have, and that will consume them. And then they end up having someone that needs to be taking care of them. And oftentimes the children are like, well, gee, I don't want to take care of mom or dad, because they're mean. All they're going to do is hurt me over and over again. So can you imagine having to take care of someone that's already hurt you your whole life, and you have to take care of them again at the end of your life? That is, it's a hard task. But some of the strongest that will have the strongest anointing are called to do those things. And then the Lord will use them powerfully, because now they have a lot of experience with people that have demonic spirits. If you don't get broken first, if you don't want to die and end your life, because that's oftentimes what the demons want to do, and it's very, very, very challenging. If you have a spouse that hurts you, or, if you have a mentor that hurts you, a person at church that hurts you, you have family members that hurt you, you might feel like you're the only one out there that is trying to do what God wants you to do. So you feel like you're, gee, I'm so tired of forgiving people. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm mad at all people because people are bad. And that is the case with a lot of individuals. You're maybe fortunate to have one person that you can call a friend, that knows you, that loves you, that's not going to condemn you and criticize you all the time. So you have to stay in a heart of forgiveness, because you understand that you're going to have new opportunities for people to come against you and to hurt you all the time. A lot of those people will be in the church. A lot of those people will be your family. So how do I do it, personally? When a person says something, lies about me, or does something, it's not fun to do that, especially when you're trying to love as many people as possible and help them get healed, set free, and delivered. So what I do is ask the Lord to show me them from his perspective. And invariably, I will be able to see that they were hurt when they were growing up. Could have been when they were a child, could have been born prematurely, could have been sexually touched, it could have been having a father or mother that was harsh to them. And then oftentimes if they're operating in the Jezebel spirit, then they self-sabotage their own relationships, with their spouse. And not all the time, but understand, you got to know the truth. Because if you talk to a person that has Jezebel, they'll lie about their spouse. They will make things up to make themselves look like a victim when they're not, when they are the aggressor, the abuser. And then those who have been abused over and over and over again, they're trying to share the truth about what they've gone through. And then if you talk to them and you talk to the spouse, you're not sure who to believe. So it's very, very tricky to know who is telling the truth. I talk with couples all the time. And even for me, there's like, oh my gosh, I thought that maybe they were operating more in the Jezebel spirit, but now I'm thinking maybe it's the other person. It's hard to tell. It's very hard to tell. Of course, God knows the truth. He can see through it. He knows a person's heart. So that's why oftentimes it almost takes, living behind closed doors with a couple to see who's actually telling the truth. Normally, the person that is more Jezebelic can tend to be more gentle and loving and kind, obviously, and the person that's more Jezebelic will try to talk more, try to control. But the Jezebels are smart. They know that there's times where they need to be quiet and act like they're just a little innocent thing. So it's really, really hard. But again, everyone needs to be in a state of forgiving people. I remember when I was I was at the Badlands in South Dakota. My car got all dirty and filthy, and the next day I had to take it through the car wash. And I remember telling the Lord as I'm going through the car wash, oh my gosh, it'd be so nice just to wash my car once and be done with it for the rest of my life, because I have to wash it every week. I'm traveling everywhere, all over the country. And then as I'm going through the car wash, the Lord speaks to me and says, yeah, Nelson, well, you live in the Badlands. And I was like, oh, that's good. Good, 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 Lord. Because I was just at the Badlands. He said, but you live in the Badlands. There's sin there. And he said, there's going to be people that are going to hurt you. They're going to lie about you. They're going to twist things. They're going to promise you things, not follow through with them. They're going to twist things, going to be jealous of you. All kinds of manifestations from people that are calling themselves Christians. He said, so for you to stay clean, like you want to have your car be cleaned, you have to be in a constant state of forgiveness. You have to forgive everyone. Forgive everyone today, forgive everyone tomorrow, the next week, the next month, the next year. He said, if you take an offense, if you get mad and angry with somebody, then that allows those demonic spirits to stick to you like they do to your car when you have a lot of dirt on your car. He says, so to stay in a state of constant forgiveness is not easy. But if you see these other people from the Lord's perspective, you will know that anyone that says things and does things to hurt you has demonic spirits. So that's how I guess, see the world. Is I want to believe that nobody has demonic spirits. You know, that's what I'm wanting to believe. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and there's a percentage of people that are good. They're good and loving, but then there's a percentage of people that aren't, that take an offense, that get really mad and angry and lie if you don't do what they want. And at that point, you just have to say, oh my gosh, they just have not been healed. Their wounds haven't been healed. They still have demonic spirits. They're listening to them. They're getting triggered by them, so I'm going to forgive them. Doesn't mean I'm going to be their best buddies. I may have to block them on Facebook and social media so that they don't manifest more. I've seen some that I've had to block, and then within a year or two, they come around. They get more healed, they get more delivered. They're like, I am so sorry for saying what I said. I am so sorry for triggering. Please forgive me. And then we can become friends again. So it's a tricky thing. But I know this is we have to always be in a constant state of forgiving people. Again, it doesn't mean that they become our best friends. Again, if you have a mom or a dad that say things to hurt you over and over again, you may have to limit. You may have to love them from a distance. You may have to say something to them, I don't know, once every 5 weeks, 6 weeks, instead of every day. Because if you're around a person that's not been healed and delivered, they're going to say things to hurt you. They're going to manifest. And it's not easy. Because oftentimes they'll see themselves as being pure and as the wind-driven snow and godly and right in every decision, and then they'll blame you, make you the scapegoat for everything. And that's not fun, to be a scapegoat, to be blamed for everything, because all that is demonic spirits trying to brainwash you into making you believe that you are the problem when they are. So, but we all need to look in the mirror and be honest. Say, Lord, show me the truth. And hopefully you can handle the truth. And then you can be healed and set free from that. So again, how do you forgive those who hurt you deeply? Ask Jesus. Jesus knows why the people did what they did. Lord, show me so that I can forgive. And the Lord will always tell you that they were hurt, they were wounded, and that's why they're not treating you the way that they should. What's the best way to reach my ministry? The best way is to reach out to my assistant, Tina Kirkpatrick, who is on Facebook, Tina Marie, M-A-R-I-E, Kirkpatrick. You can either send her a private message or you can send her an email, tinak@restoredtofreedom.com. Again, that comment came in from someone on YouTube. So tinak@restoredtofreedom.com, and you can reach out to me. Again, I do 5 or 6 or 7 sessions a week. I also travel and do corporate ministry at various events around the country. In the United States right now I'm focused on. And we have people all over the world that listen to our stuff on Facebook and YouTube and get healed, get set free, get delivered. So yep, Tina is on Facebook right now, and she just typed her email address in. Oh wow. There's a cone that just fell out of a tree. It's a beautiful day. It's supposed to be in the 40s right now, but it feels warmer because I'm in the sun. Um, all right, so that's how you forgive someone that hurt you deeply. Ask Jesus to come to speak to you, and he wants to. So again, if you had a father, had a mother, had someone that sexually molested you, it's amazing. You know, we're having more and more people that are getting healed from their being sexually molested when they were kids and they struggled with homosexuality, or they struggled with uh, improper sex with those from the opposite sex, where they had urges and they couldn't get freed from all that stuff. Yes, it's Tina Marie Kirkpatrick. You got it. Fire of Truth on YouTube. So just Tina K at restoredtofreedom.com. Anyway, we're seeing a lot of people getting healed. We just go back to the first times that they were sexually touched or shown pornography, and they describe their feelings when that happened. They're like, oh my gosh, I felt so guilty. I knew it was wrong. I was intrigued by it. You know, some people were 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years of age. Sometimes they were teenagers. And then we asked Jesus to come speak to them, and Jesus always says, you were an innocent little child. That's not who you are. You're not a perverted woman or man. You know, the enemy wants you to believe that that's who you are because you've done all these sexual things with all these different people and so forth. But the Lord is faithful and just to forgive you when you are wanting to be healed of that. And the Lord will heal you, and you feel so clean afterwards. You know, I was shown pornography when I was 5, and it caused me to be drawn to looking at pornography, and I felt horrible. I was like, oh my gosh, Lord, I don't want to do this. Help me, please. I didn't know how to get healed and delivered because the church didn't do a good job. They did a bad job. So what I do with people is like, hey, let's go back to the first time you remember being shown pornography or being touched sexually. And then we ask Jesus to come, and Jesus tells them, you know, you're an innocent little child, you're an innocent little girl, little boy. That's not who you are. You know, let me heal that. Give those wounds to me. Give me those. And then the Lord will take them and cleanse you. And then you can command the demons to go. And then you have no more urges and desires. And the voices will go with it. And it's like, oh my gosh, now you feel clean. Think of how many people in the church, how many pastors, like 50% of the pastors that struggle with pornography or other perverted things. And when you get into looking at the porn stuff, what it does is it takes away all the intimacy that you do have with your spouse. You know, again, I understand there's spouses that have Jezebel, that are controlling, that are manipulative, that are mean, and you know, both parties don't have a good sexual relationship. It's not intimacy. But when both parties get healed and delivered, then you do have intimacy. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful gift the Lord has given. But so many of that's perverted by people, and they're in the church. So, alrighty. So again, let's forgive all those who have ever hurt us. The Lord will, in fact, let's just do that to conclude with. Just close your eyes, and I just ask the Lord to come to speak to each person watching live and in the future. And I want the Lord to show you the biggest wound that you have not gotten over yet, that you've not truly forgiven that person who has hurt you or that situation. So close your eyes and let the Lord show you what he wants to heal right now. All right, you got it in your mind. Okay, now we separate off every demonic spirit that would have attached itself to your soul from that wound. And now we ask Jesus to come to speak to you about that situation, about that person, from his perspective. So just close your eyes and let the Lord show you. All right. Have you heard from the Lord? Did he show you? Did he speak to you? Again, you can be assured that anyone that's ever said something, done something to hurt you, they were also hurt, and we got to forgive them. So what I want you to do is just say, Heavenly Father, I choose to forgive, and then name their name. And you can say, for hurting me and for not loving me the way that they should have. So I give them to you, Lord, and I ask you now to heal my soul wounds. All right, now I take authority And I command every demonic spirit that attached to your wounds, to your soul, all those wounds attached to your soul from that in a situation, that person, to be gone to the pit now in Jesus' name. And then take a couple deep breaths, and you should feel a little bit lighter, a little more peaceful, a little more joy. And that's a huge part. If you go through all those situations, all those people that have hurt you and wounded you, and ask the Lord to show you from His perspective, then forgive them, truly forgive them from your heart, then command the demons to go. And then you'll have a lot more peace, a lot more joy, walk in a lot better health, and so forth. So, alrighty, well, I will let you go. I've got a session to get to here at 2 o'clock Eastern, so I will let you go. And tomorrow, let me let everyone know, tomorrow, my friend Robia Scott will be on Facebook. We're not going to do it on YouTube because I have not figured out how to do it live on YouTube without getting a lot of extra software. So I'm going to do it on Facebook. So join me on Facebook tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern. Robia is going to be talking about a new program that she is going to start teaching, and also talking about her new movie coming out, Pulled from Darkness. It's about sex trafficking. So you can watch it 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 Pacific Time, again on my Facebook. Go to Nelson Schumann. We also share it on our Restored to Freedom page. We also share it on the Soul Wound Healing and Demon Deliverance group. So you can watch it live tomorrow at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific Time. Alrighty, I will see you guys later. Bye-bye.